candles in the church foyer are glowing with a holy light.
Score!
You would never dream of stealing a candle from a church, but they wouldn't miss one of those puddles of candle wax.
Score!
You grab a handful of clay from the pile beside the grave. Well, you never know, it could come in handy. The door swings open. From the back, you hear Chester's voice.
Help yourself. I'll be right out.
Hiya, Whittlin' Willie.
How'd the gunslinging go?
Great. I'm getting ready to leave town now.
Drop the leaving town bit, sonny. I know what you're up to. This is my story, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Now finish putting that disguise together and get to it so we can get this town cleaned up once and for all.
Hey, you don't have to tell me twice.
Score!
Willie, I'm in need of a way to disguise my ear. Do you think you could do something creative with this? Something in the shape of an ear, perhaps?
Offhand, I'd say do it your dang self. My nap time's coming up shortly. I've had a hard day of whittling. But you could maybe do some lost wax casting with this sucker, and that'd do the trick.
Lost what?
Lost wax casting, son. What'd you do, sleep your way through metal shop?
I guess I must have. What's lost wax casting?
That's casting with an apostrophe, sonny, not an ing. Anyhow, you can make all sorts of things by making a wax positive, using clay to make a mold, then melting down the metal and pouring it into a mold. To make a mold, you carve whatever you want to cast out of wax, see? That's what we call a positive. Now, once you got the wax positive, you take some clay, see, and you patch the clay all around the positive. You just leave a little hole at the top so you can get the wax out. So now you got your wax inside the clay. Well, you just heat that sucker up till the wax goes all oozy and you pour the wax out. That's the lost wax part, see? Now you got your empty clay mold, what we call a negative. You smelts down your metal and pours the metal into the negative. Once it hardens up, you can just scrape off the clay, and there you are. Did you get all that?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Well, that's what your restore button's for, kiddo. Now scrambooch.
The door swings open. From the back, you hear Chester's voice.
Help yourself. I'll be right out.
It's Whittlin' Willie's authentic whittling knife.
Score!
You borrow Whittlin' Willie's knife for a while. With your newly acquired whittling skills, you carve the candle wax into the shape of an ear, one that should theoretically attach snugly to the remains of your original ear. But now look at the gunk on Willie's knife.
I'll toss this knife over here where Willie might find it. He'll probably think he dropped it here.
Yeah, sure.
You return.
Yep.
It is good to look upon your eternally smiling countenance of face again.
Yeah, I've missed you too.
It's a silver medallion recently awarded to Srini by the American Society of Salves, Holistic Ointments, Liniments, and Emollients Salesmen. It was in honor of his impressive and yet oddly comforting display of Old Gampy's Fisherman Throat Gullet Descaler lozenges.
Score!
You carefully remove the medallion from the wall.
Srini will never miss this.
Freddy Pharkas, what in an entirely unsatisfactory afterlife are you doing with my finely earned silver medallion?
It's going to a good cause, Srini. It's going to help make Coarsegold a safer, saner place to live.
I am hoping so, Freddy, for all the sakes.
You carefully pack the clay in and around the wax ear, leaving a small opening so that you can pour out the molten wax later. The wax in the mold slowly starts to melt. The melted wax runs out of the mold and spatters on the work table, resulting in an empty ear-shaped mold and a table with a severe case of waxy buildup. The silver medallion slowly begins to melt. The medallion is nearly completely melted now. You now have a crucible containing molten silver. You quickly pour the molten silver into the empty mold. You scrape the clay off and discard it, leaving you with a gleaming silver ear. Beautifully done. With an ear like this, you could, dare I say it, rule the world!
Score!